Y'all do know that I will be the history teacher.
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
y'all do know that the Prince of Pan-Africanism will be the history teacher.
Bullshit?
So when your son comes into my history and political science class, you better let him know.
You don't have future here. You don't have future. You can never make it. Dissolve! You're supposed to be a dinner man, serving dinner to the students in the secondary school. Because you cannot do basic 1+1. You are here breathing heavy like a dog. Think about your life.
Bruh.
You are a failure. You can never make it. Dissolve! You cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired, you are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
Thursday's video dropped and the comment section did exactly what this channel is built for. Took the receipt and went further. Multiple people came back with federal law, not Delaware law, federal law, and they were right, which means Thursday gave you the admission. Today you get the verdict. So before we get into it, I need to plan 3 things right now because everything in this video connects back to them. The credential was fake. His own government hearing proved it. The bloodline was fake. His own family's DNA proved it. And the school cannot legally exist anywhere in America, not just Delaware, anywhere. 3 pillars, all collapsed from inside his own story. Not from critics, not from struggle streamers, from his own mouth, on his own platforms, to his own supporters. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly how that happened. And you are going to understand why. The question is not whether he knew, the question is what he planned to do about it.
Y'all know what's going on, and so do I.
In 1976, the Supreme Court decided Runyon versus McCrary. The court held that private schools discriminating on the basis of race violate Section 1981 of the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Not Title VI, not Brown versus Board, Section 1981. And the reason that distinction matters is because Section 1981 applies to every private school in America, regardless of whether they receive a single dollar of government funding. No federal funding hook required. No state law loophole. The Supreme Court looked at private schools specifically and said race-based exclusion violates federal law. Full stop. Delaware was never the real problem. Thursday's video framed it as a state issue because that is what he said on the podcast.
Right? Mm-hmm. Just like us. And they tell you your child can't come here because they're black. It's against state law. So if a white person wants their child at our school, we have to consider them for admission. We cannot exclude based on race.
So we can make it hard like that.
The comment section came back with the bigger law, and they were right. FDMG was announced in 2013. The building was purchased in 2019. Every Breakfast Club appearance, every PayPal link, every chosen one selected for a school that cannot legally exclude anyone on the basis of race happened after a Supreme Court decision that made the entire premise impossible. 50 years.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Psychology, and I'm a certified school psychologist. So yes, child psychology is my thing.
Okay.
Clinically and educationally.
Right. And so I understand you say white people can't be a part of the movement and you opening a school with all black kids, right?
Let me clarify. In the state of Delaware, you cannot refuse admission into a school, even if it's independent, on the basis of race.
Okay.
You follow me?
That is not a man who learned something new and did not know how to respond. That is a man who understood the law well enough to immediately formulate a workaround strategy and announce it publicly to his donor base. The Supreme Court did not say you cannot formally exclude students based on race, but you can make it really inconvenient for them. The court said race-based discrimination in private school admissions violates federal law. Making it hard on purpose is discrimination. The law does not have a "that's different" exception. That statement is already public record, and it was made before the certificate of occupancy was issued, before the first student was enrolled, before the school opened its doors to anyone.
6 to
We want to
10.
start with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay.
Around here.
So 7 through 10.
So what I'm saying is how do you go about teaching white youth the history.
Whose history?
Ours.
Ours?
Doctor.
Okay.
However,
Always begin with the end in mind. I'm teaching white children Black and African history for what purpose? Why am I doing this?
I mean, it's all right. Like, overrated as in my opinion. I mean, and you know what though? That's typically how the bullshit goes. You feel me?
Now let us talk about the building itself for a second, because the name matters here. He named it the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Frederick Douglass, one of the most important figures in Black American history, a man who escaped slavery, became an abolitionist, and spent his entire life fighting for human freedom, regardless of race. Frederick Douglass also married a white woman, his second wife, Helen Pitts. 1884, public record. The man built his school's identity around a figure whose own life directly contradicts the admissions policy he was trying to enforce, in a building that cannot legally exclude white students, while saying,
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
My African brothers and sisters, here's the part that should bother every single person who ever donated to this school. He did not stumble into this legal problem. He is not an outsider who made an honest mistake about education law. For 13 years, he has presented himself as the foremost authority on Black education in America, the expert, the one man who understands what Black boys need better than anyone in the licensed establishment. That is the brand. That is the pitch.
Y'all do know that I will be the history teacher. Huh? Y'all do know that the Prince of Pan-Africanism will be the history teacher. So when your son comes into my history and political science class, you better let him know we don't do pretendianism in here. We are Africans. And if you don't want your son to be taught to be an African, he does not need to be a member of the FDMG Black Star Line. I'm gonna say it again.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
If you are not African, if you don't want your son to be taught how to be African, don't send him to the FDMG Academy. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. This is a Pan-Africanist institution. When he sits in one of these desks, when he sits before Professor Ifatunde, when he sits before Professor Ifatunde, it's only red, black, and green, brothers and sisters. Who ready for the FDMG revolution? Who ready for the FDMG revolution? Wait until you see the uniforms. Wait until you see the uniforms, brothers and sisters. We taking over education.
Come on, none of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lie.
This ain't no charter school. This ain't no public school. This ain't no Catholic school. This ain't no home school. This is Garvey Douglass Garvey School. This is King Kong. Oh yes. Hit your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. The revolution is coming. The revolution is coming, brothers and sisters. Look at that floor shining. Y'all see that floor shining? Y'all see that floor shining? Look at the glass. Look at the glass, brothers and sisters. Y'all see that floor shining? Y'all see them desks shining? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The time has come, brothers and sisters. The time has come, brothers and sisters. We not playing with y'all. We not playing with y'all. The hardest working man in Black consciousness. The hardest working man in Black consciousness. Ladies, can I get some home cooked vanilla chocolate queens? Where my cinnamon queens and my fudge queens and my maple syrup queens and my cocoa butter complected queens with the all natural hair from head to toe, brothers and sisters? Where they at? Where the queens at?
Oh, Lord. Again. Again.
Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit.
The hardest working man in black consciousness.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
That is why the chosen one's language worked. Because if you believe he is the expert, you trust his judgment on everything, including the legal structure of the school he is building. Runyon versus McCrary has been settled law since 1976. That is not an obscure legal footnote. That is a Supreme Court decision specifically about private schools and race-based admissions. Any person doing basic legal research before fundraising for a private school would find it. Any lawyer consulted before purchasing a building with donor money would cite it. Any genuine education expert building an institution from scratch would know it. So the question the comments section kept asking is the right one. Did he not know, or did he know and keep fundraising anyway? Those are the only two options, and I need you to sit with both of them for a second. If he did not know, then the foremost authority on black education in America did not do the basic legal homework before taking millions of dollars in donations for a school. That is incompetence. If he knew, then he took those donations anyway for 13 years while describing a school that the law never allowed him to build. That is something else entirely. Which one is worse? That question is yours to answer, not mine. And if none of that was enough, if you are still thinking he could find a way to make the workaround work, there is one more layer. The workaround he announced does not save the school. It destroys it. FDMG operates as a non-profit organization. The IRS requires that private schools maintain a written racial non-discrimination policy, disclose it publicly, and apply it across all programs in order to keep their 501c3 tax-exempt status. That requirement has existed since 1971. No exceptions for cultural mission, no exceptions for Pan-African principles. Written policy, public disclosure, applied to everything. Great plan. 2 thumbs up on that one, my African brothers and sisters. People keep saying he is just disorganized, that the school is taking longer than expected because building institutions is hard.
God have mercy upon us.
And you know what though? That's typically how the bullshit goes, you feel me?
That the system keeps getting in his way. Let me show you what the system looks like. In August 2025, the FDMG building in Wilmington faced a sheriff's sale, not because of a lawsuit, not because of a government conspiracy, because of unpaid, vacant property registration fees and outstanding utility bills. The city posted the notice directly on the building. He found out when someone sent him a photo. A building with no students, no certificate of occupancy, no legal path to operate as advertised, could not pay its own bills. His response was to go online and ask supporters for emergency donations to stop the auction. The PayPal link that has been running since 2013 was now the only thing standing between the chosen ones and a sheriff's gavel. That is not a man being sabotaged by the system. That is a man whose building cannot legally open, cannot legally operate as he sold it, and cannot pay its own utility bills, all at the same time. And the community that funded all of this never got a financial report. Not one itemized accounting of where the donations went.
I've never seen it.
Not one audited statement. Not one breakdown of what was spent on renovations versus what was spent on everything else. And in the middle of all of it, while the building was almost going to auction, he was on Instagram Live wiping desks and asking supporters for deviled eggs and banana pudding. That is not bad luck. That is not a series of setbacks. That is a pattern, and patterns do not lie.
Stop for a second, because I need you to go back through everything we just covered and ask one question, not about him, about what this series of events actually means. And the school cannot legally exist anywhere in America as advertised. Not in Delaware, not in any other state he could have chosen. 3 pillars: the credential, the bloodline, the school. All 3 collapsed from inside his own story, not from critics,
not from struggle streamers, not from the white establishment he keeps pointing at, from a government hearing he attended, from a family statement about his own DNA, from a podcast he chose to do, to supporters who trusted him. Every single time, the receipt came from inside his own narrative, and every single time, the community kept donating. That is not bad luck. That is a mechanism. And now you know exactly how it works. The wild part is, none of this was hidden. The government hearing was public record. The family statement was public record. The podcast was public record. The sheriff's cell notice was posted on the building itself. The receipts were always there. People just did not want to look. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If the credential was fake, the bloodline was fake, and the school cannot legally exist as advertised anywhere in America, what exactly has the community been funding for 13 years? And more importantly, what does the community decide to require from the next person who shows up with a title, a bloodline, a vision, and a PayPal link? Thursday's video is where this all started. If you have not seen it yet, it is right here. Click now, and I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.